Good morning, Jim McKinnon, CEO with Money Management Inc. in beautiful downtown Brookhaven. We're having a great day. Hey, hope you are too. This cool weather, it's phenomenal. My watch says 81, and that's probably not too far from being off. And normally this time of day it's been about 91. So, we're thankful for 81. Hey, I want to say first of all, congratulations to the Ole Miss Rebels. They played a phenomenal game. I mean, they were the last team to get in there. They had a bad record. They had some problems during the middle of the season, and it didn't look like they were going to get selected. By the grace of God, they got selected, and Oklahoma wishes they hadn't. And then they came through and won it all. In Hattiesburg, where they had the divisional tournament, which is my home of the University of Southern Mississippi, Southern gave them all they wanted. Southern really played them a great game, a couple of games, and lost to them. But wouldn't it be ironic? Mississippi State won last year. Ole Miss won this year. Don't be surprised if Southern Miss comes through and wins next year. I mean, it's not a guaranteed. I wouldn't bet any money on it, but it's certainly possible. So we got great baseball players in Mississippi, great baseball coaches, and it's a lot of fun. I want to tell you about a website. I think I've told you about it before. It's called www.truthinaccounting.org, I believe. Truthinaccounting.org. And it's got a financial state of the union, and what it says is the financial condition of the U.S. government worsened by more than $10 trillion in 2021. The majority of that debt can be attributed to $58.1 trillion in Medicaid promises and $45.4 trillion in Social Security. These are promises that have been made to our citizens, but the government, get this, the government has not set aside any money to fund them. Did you get that? 58 trillion and 45 trillion, over $100 trillion the government owes, and we got IOUs. There's no money. Something's got to give, folks, and it's going to be sooner rather than later. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting. States with least financially responsible residents. Least financial, that means people that, I guess they survey you, see how much money you make, and see what kind of house you have, what kind of car you drive, and all this sort of stuff. And they make a decision. Well, goodness gracious, I'm tickled to tell you, Mississippi is not number one. Arkansas is the worst. Arkansas is the least physically responsible residents for state. Mississippi is 6. So we're nothing to brag about, but I guess there are 5 states worse off than what we are. And I found this interesting. Mississippi overall, for our financial situation, gets a D. By the way, a D is in dog. This is written by a lady that's a top CPA. She has no axe to grind. She's not selling anything. She's not promoting anything except just the truth. That's what it's called, Truth in Accounting. You ought to go look at it. I tell you, there's some great information. Now, let's go look at the state of Mississippi, because that's where we live. Now, the state of Mississippi has $8.3 billion of dollars in reserve to pay bills. 8.3. So let's call it 8 billion. They have bills of over 16 billion. That's almost 50% more bills than what we got money. What's going to happen? Well, the states can't print money. Unlike the federal government, we can't crank up our printing presses. Hey, give me a $1,000 bill, give me $100. I can't do that. What are they going to have to do? Now, only one way. There is only, regardless of what Tate Reeves and the rest of those lying politicians say, there's only one way to solve the problem, and that's to raise taxes. You got to pay your bills. Unlike the federal government, we can't borrow. We got to pay our bills. Now, you say, well, how in the world did we get to owe $16.2 billion? Well, I'm going to read that off to you. Kim, you don't really need me. They can hear me. This is interesting. Bonds, we've got over $6 billion of bond interest due. Other liabilities, $5.7 billion. unfunded pension benefits. These are people that have retired, state employees, including school teachers. There is almost there's 6.6 billion unfunded, and then unfunded retirees' health care benefits is 326 million. That's where the 16 billion comes from. That bills we got to pay, but we've only got 8 billion to do it. Now, if you know a way to solve that, I wish you'd call Tate and tell him, or call Philip Gunn and tell him, or call your representative and tell them. We got a problem, folks. It's got to be dealt with. It's got to be dealt with. Anyway, I don't want to be negative today, so I started off with something positive about Ole Miss, and I'm not an Ole Miss graduate, not necessarily an Ole Miss fan. I went to Southern, but I appreciate any school. I cheered for Mississippi State last year. I cheered for Ole Miss this year, and I hope I get the chance to cheer for Southern Miss next year. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.